Saturday night at Corporate Travel Management Stadium, and everything was on the line for Palm Beach SC and the Gap FC in the PlayStation 4 National Premier League's Queensland 2015 Women's Grand Final. The Premiers, the Gap, looking to do the double, while for Palm Beach, out for revenge after being pipped at the post in the Premiership race and falling to the Gap in the qualifying semi-final. An early chance for Sharks from a long ball. Deanna Thompson winning the foot race over Norina Butzer in the Gap goal. A tight angle, but the shot into the side netting. A chance for the Gap soon after. Gabe Mazzano pulling the trigger from the top of the box, but held by Bianca Warriner. Less than a minute later, and another chance for the Premiers. Ruth Blackburn's lobbed effort going just wide. Thompson remained a threat at the top of the Sharks formation, and the Gap defenders were doing everything to shut down her chances on goal. At the other end, Mazzano continued to look for the opener, but ultimately the honours fell to the 2015 Golden Boot winner Deanna Thompson. The bounce catching out the Gap defenders, the Shark striker making no mistake with the finish. Jubilation for the visitors, 1-0 ahead midway through the half. The Gap sought an immediate reply, Jess Dillon forcing Warriner to tip over the crossbar from distance. The ensuing corner brought more nervous moments. The ball bouncing back off the post. Gap players saying the ball crossed the line, but the match officials seeing it differently. But the Premiers wouldn't have to wait long to level terms. Leah Curtis pulling the trigger from a long way out. The ball sneaking in on the bounce at the near post. A stunning finish to restore parity. The team's even now at 1-1. Further chances for the Gap before half time. Ruth Blackburn again calling on Warriner to tip over the bar. A trio of corners followed, but the Gap unable to take advantage. Mazzano shooting high with the last kick of the half. The team still locked at 1-1 at the turn. The momentum remained with the Gap in the second half. Blackburn threatening inside a minute on this run. Another chance for Blackburn shortly after, but Rosie Malone on hand to do the cleaning up at the near post. A third chance in as many minutes. Blackburn finding Mazzano, but the finish just over the top. Next it was Curtis going in search of the lead, and her second with a volleyed effort. Lauren Brown saw a bright moment for the Sharks, but she was brought down by Catherine O'Neill, the Gap centre half, perhaps lucky not to be deemed the last offender. Still, the Gap were in control and the Sharks were doing everything to keep them at bay. But ultimately, the Premiers class told on the scoreboard. Gabe Mazzano slipping the ball in behind the line. Victoria Stevens on the slide with the first time finish. An absolutely stunning goal. The Gap fans going bananas. Their team 2-1 ahead. But one goal is never quite enough in a grand final. The Gap looking to double their advantage. Mazzano had the best chance to add a third heading into the final 10 minutes, but Warriner again proving up to task. And in the final minutes, the Sharks look to repay their goalkeeper's heroics. Laura Seville shooting wide of the target in the hope of forcing extra time. And the visitors almost snuck a spectacular equaliser. Louisa Marmion from long range forcing a Butzer to tip over the bar. So close, but so far for the Sharks. The Gap seeing it out, 2-1 at full time, and undisputed champions of Queensland women's football. Goals to Curtis and Stevenson for the victors, Thompson chipping in for the Sharks. But it's midfield stalwart Ruth Blackburn who gets our nod as the player of the match for a commanding performance for the champions. Worthy celebrations for the Gap, but there's still one more great showdown for women's football fans coming up later this month. The PlayStation 4 National Premier League's Queensland Women's Select 11 take on Brisbane Roar's Westfield W League Stars. Get on down to Goodwin Park Sunday, September 27 to catch all the action. As per usual, we'll be bringing you full coverage of that match, plus all the off-season news, views and highlights. via the official PlayStation 4 NPL Queensland website, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. You've been watching a Football Queensland production for the PlayStation 4 National Premier Leagues. Michael Flynn speaking.